Welcome, fellow Bohemians, to Bohemian Summit. This is Nity, joined with
Brian Jeffries.
And Shinji Ayanami.
All right, so you had some things like prepared, or some opinions, I guess, or like a specific point about Syria.
Well, just the fact that we've now bombed them in response to their use of chemical weapons on their civilians.
Wait, what? We just bombed them again?
Yeah.
That was today, right?
Yeah, that was today. Well, last night.
6 hours ago. Pentagon says Syria strikes successfully hit every target. Live updates.
Yeah, well...
See, I haven't actually read the reports yet, so this is good. I'll be able to get some fresh information.
Syrian and Russian forces are saying that a number of them were shot down. But it is the rest of us, the coalition of the... Okay, so to go into it, what happened was the U.S., France, and Britain led a joint strike.
So I knew they were preparing. I just didn't know that we'd actually done it. I didn't know that they had done it. That's where I'm at with the story.
I listened to Theresa May's...
Or the results of said action. Those are the details I don't know.
Yeah, I listened to Theresa May's speech to her press briefing this morning.
Okay.
And I missed our response. I haven't read up on it, but I caught the gist from the headlines that they're all basically saying the same thing, that it was a successful strike, bilateral, meant to be very decisive. They avoided Russian targets because the past week has been a bit of a slugfest with the UN, where Russia has basically gone as far as to say that this is a plot by British ops to force a war in Syria. You know,
British ops.
Yeah, here it says
I would not have pictured them as the mastermind behind it. I don't know.
Well, here, check this out. CBSN Live, Washington Pentagon spokesperson Dana White. That's kind of ironic. Is that the UFC?
No.
Yeah. Okay, that's just
the name.
Okay, good coincidence. Dana White said Saturday the U.S. and its allies successfully hit every target in airstrikes in Syria overnight. The U.S., UK, and France and UK, I said okay twice, launched the strikes Friday night Eastern Time in response to the Syrian regime's alleged use of chemical weapons last weekend. Listen to this. In total, the U.S. used 105 weapons against 3 targets.
Yeah, which is more than they were chemical...
Do they say what the targets were?
Let's see. Here's another quote I can show you. We took every measure and precaution to strike only what we targeted, and we successfully hit every target, White told reporters Saturday.
But they don't seem to mention what the target was.
Well, Theresa did.
Mm-hmm.
Who?
Theresa May, British Prime Minister.
Okay.
She was pretty candid with the British press, as you should be. She said that they were faculties that were specifically things that produced and distributed and researched.
Facilities?
Yeah.
Were there people in the facilities?
That wasn't said.
Like anyone else, they was going to say anything about that. No one.
Innocent deaths.
You're not going to... How many Americans are you going to hear being like, how many innocent factory workers did we bomb in there? They were only there because they're in a repression.
Well, they're going to... Yeah, but the argument is that they were if they were in a place, they're complicit, basically.
That doesn't matter.
I guess if someone says, work in my factory or I'll kill you, it makes you complicit. That's good. That's good thinking. That's good lines of logic.
Or if you had slaves on a plantation, you're like, we need to kill the freaking plantation owner, and then they just bomb everybody. Well, sorry, the people were complicit because they were there.
But she did say that they went out of their way to mitigate civilian and Russian casualties.
We went out of our way to make sure we only killed the smallest number of innocent people. Jeez. And what we really didn't have to do, because there hasn't even been a full investigation yet, because, we just know the facts.
Well, the UN's been trying to investigate them for over a year. Russia has actually been vetoing it in the UN security, using its veto power.
Because they're allies. Of course, that's what Russia's going to do.
So
that's what America does for all of its allies.
Well, the British line of reasoning was that every line of diplomatic attempts have been tried. Personally, I don't disagree with it. I don't disagree with taking out military things for chemical weapons.
This is a great, horrible thing that has happened. Like you've made a very clear statement that we are not allies. We are in no way allies. In fact, at any time, the fighting could begin. Have you heard about the demonstration Putin did with his new technology or whatever? Yeah. Mm-hmm. He did a simulation of, I think it's a defense technology which eliminates our ability to do first strike nuclear attacks. For instance, like if we were to launch our nukes first, in theory they'd try to launch theirs for mutually assured destruction, but we would have countermeasures that would block their launches or whatever the fuck. So that it would basically allow us to launch first and shut them down. We don't have that. They did a simulation where they had missiles hitting.
Actually, I have heard about this.
I think it was California.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not good. It's not good. And he was like, look, we've gone behind your back. We've gone behind everyone's back and made this technology that is superior to what you think we have and what you have. And we're telling you, don't do this. We don't want this. Don't do this.
Any amount of nukes launched and everything's fucked.
It's not good. No, we are not in a good situation. Like the things could go horribly wrong very soon here. And the people of America have not known war on American soil in a long time.
Especially
generations.
With the weapons that we have today, it's just like...
Exactly. It's not it would be horrific because the place they would hit is going to be California. And what does that leave the rest of America with? If you take out the biggest population of left-wing progressive areas of liberal liberal minds, if you take out the biggest section of the economy of America, what does that do to the rest of us? It leaves us with a bunch of angry, frightened, mostly conservative people already behind a fascistic dictator in waiting. And in no way is teaming up with the UK and France and bombing probably one of the closest allies of Russia a good thing. There is in no way that is done. And to be fair, it's not the first time we've done it, and it's not the first time we've done it on gas attacks that were debunked later they were misinformation or they were false flags entirely.
I mean, did you see the video of the bodies? This time
that doesn't mean it was Assad that did the bombing.
What was it?
It was already proven that it wasn't him the last time that we did countermeasures.
What, last year?
And again, it's the timing. America was just about, Trump was talking about pulling our troops out of Syria. Though Assad was winning, and I think it's Duma is the city or the capital that is where a large portion of the conflict is, and then he was winning. He was winning against his opponents. He was on the verge of exactly, but he was on the verge of it being over, of it being settled. And then suddenly he goes, "Now is a good time to go gas a bunch of children of my own people." What message does that send other than, "Hey, please come kill me"? Unless he's suicidal, there is no rational reason for him to make that move.
Look, this isn't something. All sides are talking about this not being a sustainable thing. They're not going to go in indefinitely. This was a very specific.
That is what they have said about each one of the other wars we are in right now, of Afghanistan, of Iraq, of fucking...
That's not true. In Afghanistan and Iraq, they went in for they were like, we don't care how long it's going to take. We're going to go in there, and we're going to kick some ass, and we're going to go, and we're going to do this. It was the fact that we just kept doing it and putting more into it. With no good reason or result.
Yeah, how much democracy do we actually end up setting up?
We do not need to be doing this right now. This is another one of my points. The amount of money we're spending currently to to get involved in a conflict that we have no business getting involved in. Why did we not wait for a full UN investigation? Why do we even have a United Nations if a few of the more quote-unquote powerful nations are going to just go, we don't really care what everyone else thinks. Yeah. We're going to throw our weight around and do what we want anyway.
Well, what are you supposed to do when, like, they go, hey, we want to investigate? Oh, well, you can't. I vetoed it.
Yeah, that's what happened. Trump.
Like, Putin keeps vetoing it.
Or no, it's Putin, that's what it
is. If you can't go in, what are you supposed to do?
You leave it alone.
You leave it alone? Tell that to 1940s Germany.
Why are we the world police? I don't understand what made us think that it's our job to go around telling everyone else how to live. I would just like for a while for us to stop going around ordering other countries to do things how we think is correct and instead focus on fixing the horrible problems affecting our own country.
Look, I don't disagree with that, but chemical weapons helps nobody.
Well,
it doesn't, but again, we are about to start a war.
WMD
well, there's already a war.
No, we're about to start a real war. A World War III scenario war. A nuclear possible war. This is not... The word war has been watered down by the conflicts that have been labeled wars. By the way, war has been used to determine war on Christmas.
It's just been guerrilla warfare up to this point.
It's not...
For the most
part. What I'm saying, it's not war. There have been conflicts. That is the technical term for them, I think. Yeah. And this is a bad move. This is a really, really bad move, and it is not going to go well. And it's only going to get worse.
You know, if it's just
you've got John Bolton just whispering in it. You've got like Worm Tongue behind him, like blow up the fucking world. Yeah. It's not good. We are not in a good situation. We have done nothing but accrue enemies in the last who knows how many years. If you asked, I think there's been a poll worldwide, like what is the leading threat to global peace, and it is America. We are not a good thing for the world right now. We need to take some steps back and letting other countries, if the UK and if France wanted to make an answer to that, we let them do it. That doesn't mean we have to participate. That doesn't mean that we have to spend our money and put whatever innocent blood might be there on our hands. That is our money. That's our taxpayer money funding these raids, funding these bombings, and I'm sick of it. I don't want my money going to that. I want it to going to educating my children. I want it going to fixing my roads. I want it going to cleaning my fucking air and my water. And I want it going to giving me fucking solar power. I don't want it going to bombing people who may or may not have been at work at the wrong fucking day. You know what I'm saying? Like that. We don't need to be doing it anymore. We've done it. We've been doing it, and it's time to stop. That's not what we need to be doing. But apparently the image of America for Americans is fucking, I don't even know, is Jack Ryan on PCP wrapped in an American flag with an AK-47 swinging from a rope, shooting every action hero in the face, just like, this is America!
I see that as like a Mad magazine cover now.
It's just ridiculous.
I mean, generally speaking, I'm not a fan of going and doing, and waging war. I'm not. But there are some times where you have to think about, like, the greater good. If you let this run... Look,
sorry.
If you let this run rampant, you let Assad perfect and work on chemical weapons, what's to stop him or the Russians from using it?
He already gave up his chemical weapons. He did it under Obama. It's been done. He did it. I don't know why you keep saying, like, if we allow him to develop, he's already gotten rid of that. That's already happened. Now, if you're saying he's been illegally or underhandedly, whatever, developing it without the United Nations or whoever knowing. I've not heard of that charge, but I'm not saying he's a good person or that he's a good leader. What I'm saying is it's not necessarily our problem. Like, we have our own problems. And until we fix our own problems, we shouldn't be telling other people how to fix theirs. And we have a history of horrible regime change decisions. We everywhere we touch turns to shit. There are open slave markets in Libya because of what we have done. It is not a good situation. It is not.
See, I agree with both points, because I mean, I feel like it's also like the method that we go about doing things is very sloppy.
Mm-hmm.
We would just drop bombs on a freaking place. I mean, if we're going to do anything, right, we have all of these super trained military groups like SEAL team. We have, recon. We have, whatever.
But putting forces on the ground is an act of war.
Yeah, but bombing people isn't.
Exactly. How is putting a team of 12 dudes on the ground in active war, but literally bombing the shit out of apparently factories with who knows how many casualties and innocent people is not fucking an active war.
We have
is that possible?
We have shadow military that we can send in. We have black ops. They can go in like undercover. We don't have to announce anything. If suddenly these plants or all these people are shut down and all of these workers aren't killed, doesn't that seem like a much better alternative than sloppy bombings where we mitigate as many Russian deaths and other country people from other countries that we're definitely not on like great terms with.
I don't know. Where I'm from, bombing is an act of war. Because last time I remember a bombing being a pretty clear sign of an act of war was, I think Pearl Harbor was a pretty good example of that, right?
Balls over back.
We got bombed in one location at a military base by an opposing military, and we went into a world fucking war. And you're going to tell me that we bombed a supposed military location, which is where they're making military-grade weapons, and that's not an act of war? That's an act of war.
Hiroshima.
We are officially throwing our hat in the ring in another world war is what we're doing. We're on this side. We are on the side of these people with these ideals, and we just don't like you because of whatever the fuck you're doing. It's ridiculous. So many innocent people are going to suffer because of this, and it's...
But innocent people are already suffering. People are starving.
Right. So fuck it. So nothing matters. Then why intervene at all? If people are already starving and people are already suffering, then why even bother?
When do you draw the line? Like, these people have been starving. Like, there were cities that were starved for months.
You know who else is starving? Yemen. Yemen is literally being starved right now because of siege warfare that we are funding with Saudi Arabia. We are doing that. We are helping genocide people. Well, I mean, it's probably not there yet, but we're complicit and aiding in that greatly.
I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that.
Okay, but that's what I'm saying. But at the same time, you're saying that it's
okay to go and bomb targets of somebody who is starving his people and using.
No, I'm saying you're trusting the word of people who are starving and bombing Yemen that it's okay to bomb Syria. How much more of a sign do you need that the people that you're taking the advice from are wrong? How wrong have they been in every conflict in the Middle East? How wrong has our military policy been for the last 15 or 16 years? Since the 9/11, we have done nothing right. Probably since well before then, but it's been glaringly obvious that we've been doing the wrong things.
I mean, we were doing the wrong things before that.
Okay, that's fair. I mean, it's been, I think, much more apparent because of probably the internet that things
not so much the 90s. We avoided a lot of it, kind of.
I'm talking. That's why I'm saying 2001 on had the internet. That's what I'm saying.
But the Iran-Contra affair in the 80s.
Yes, I mean, well, maybe since Vietnam, but either way, we have not been on the right side of wars or conflicts in a very, very long time. And you're telling me that engaging in this one is the right thing to do, which is what we've literally been told about every single one of the engagements we've been put in until later on we've been found out that it's been a terrible idea and we were lied to about the premises of why we were put in the stupid war in the first place. And the whole thing was a sham just so we could get some sort of natural resources or upend a possible actual democratic society, because then people might know that democracy works if you do it right.
Look, I'm against dictators killing their people. That's what I'm not for. Like, I didn't support the war in Iraq, but I supported the reconstruction. I didn't think that we should have just pulled out and, surprise, it led to the creation of ISIS. Just like we're already over there doing things. If we pull out of Syria, we're just going to enable something worse to come back. Because that's the problem. We go over there.
That's the exact opposite of what is happening. Our presence alone is causing terrorism. We are funding terrorists. We are the rebels, the moderate rebels that you hear about on CNN and fucking Rachel Maddow and shit. Well, if she would stop, in between breaths of Russia. That's sorry. I derailed myself thinking about Rachel Maddow grumbling about Russia. God damn it.
Wow.
I ruined it. God damn you, Maddow.
She has that effect.
Wait. Okay. What was it say right before that?
Fuck.
Yep.
The
funding of terrorism.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, the moderate terrorists.
There was. I don't remember the specific location, but there was a place where there were rebels funded by the Pentagon and armed by the Pentagon and trained by the Pentagon.
I mean, Osama bin Laden.
Who were fighting against rebels who were armed and trained by the CIA. We were literally funding both sides of a conflict.
Of course. That's capitalism.
For what exactly? This is what I'm telling you. All of these wars are to make money for an elite few people. These defense contractors, the military industrial complex in general, is what it's about. Exactly. And their pay has been so lagging. I did not realize until recently how lapse the pay for soldiers is. It used to be you would go into the military because it offered you would get a good, sometimes there was a bonus and there was a good wage.
Yeah.
And you weren't spending most of it because you were, training or deployed or what have you. So basically you got just a big chunk of money and you were able to go spend it and do things. And it was, I don't know. There was some sort of,
not to mention,
I don't know. I don't want to say nobility, but there was some pride you could take in that.
Not to mention that looked good as hell on job applications. Oh yeah, I served in the military. Everyone wants to hire somebody who served in the military.
Exactly, but now I saw recently they published the wages of clerks and people and magistrates and shit, and somewhere there was, I think it was a county clerk or something makes $90,000 a year. So in my head, I'm going, okay, so this dude who sits in an office and does paperwork makes 4 times the amount of a soldier possibly risking their life in a foreign country for illegal wars and
sand, dodging bullets,
And it's just it's criminal. Our government has been riddled with war criminals for possibly my entire life, and.
Sure. Well, it started with us taking in the Nazi scientists.
I can't tell if you're joking.
I'm actually quite serious.
Okay. All right.
But I mean, that's where it starts. We were we can learn.
You're for real on this.
I am. We were we can learn your secrets. We can learn from you, and that kind of act changes you. I mean, think about it. You have the creation of we took their lessons of fluoride and adapted it in the 50s.
Oh yeah,
that is true. The fluoride is a horrible decision, and you are. I will give you that.
Do you know there's studies out? I just saw it. Which is also more information that you can either take or leave. But I saw that there was a supposed study that fluoride has been now labeled a neurotoxin.
That's because it is.
It's terrible for you. It is not for ingestion. It is not meant. Look at your toothpaste has fluoride in it, and every toothpaste says like do not ingest.
Yeah, it's also irradiated.
I knew that as well. I did know that. Yeah, fluoride.
But
and it's also in a lot of
it's good for your teeth, so you should drink it. What the
It's in your water. And it doesn't you piss it out. It doesn't build up in your system. No, it does. It actually passes your blood brain barrier and it calcifies your pineal gland.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like what?
Yeah, makes you more docile, easier to suggestion.
Exactly. They use it in Nazi camps.
Exactly.
In larger doses, mind you, but like over a long period.
But this is like we didn't really start poisoning our people until we took in Nazi scientists. Thanks for listening, fellow Bohemians, to another session of the Bohemian Summit. Feel free to give us a like, subscribe, and hit that notification button, and we'll see you next time.